Poppy Playtime Chapter 3 is one of the most anticipated games of 2024. But when will the fourth chapter be released? How will it start and who will be waiting for us there? Hello friends, these are the questions I will answer in this video. Well, before I start, put a like and subscribe to the channel and click on the bell. Can you tell me which characters are going to be in the next chapter and who the main antagonist will be? Perhaps we'll see Miss Delight again in Chapter 4. Well, it's interesting to note that even when she was pinned down, she managed to keep her eyes open, and it seems likely that she'll find a way to escape. However, the main antagonist will certainly be absent. It seems that Prototype will play a significant role as the main antagonist in the fourth chapter, given the build-up so far. By the way, in Chapter 3, Kissy Missy had a little run-in with someone who wasn't too friendly. It's probably Prototype. By the way, Prototype is just right around the corner, and it seems like there could be surprises lurking in every hallway.
No! We're coming! Just hold on! Kissy!
Yes, the old characters are still good, but what about the new ones? Probably in the fourth chapter, the developers will introduce new monsters. Boxy Boo might be among them. Indeed, this isn't a new monster. Everyone is familiar with him from Project Playtime, but the main plot doesn't feature him. It's his turn to step in front of us now. There are some monsters whose demise we have yet to witness, and Boxy Boo is no exception. The fact that Haggy Waggy, Kissy Missy, Catnap, and his other smiling relatives passed away at his feet is something that we are aware of. In Chapter 4, he will most certainly make an appearance. The recording seems to have hinted at this possibility. If the devs choose to add more tapes, then let's wait for them. Prototype seems to be the most anticipated monster. He was mentioned in practically every chapter, as a reference on the tape in the first chapter, at the conclusion of the second chapter, and now at the end of the third chapter. Perhaps in the fourth chapter, we will finally learn who it is and the reason behind all of his terrible actions. Although there is a possibility that the Prototype is actually good and just wants to free the monsters, but a good person would not force kids into opening the main doors. A new creature, one that hasn't been seen before, could be added to the Prototype. It's possible that there will be more than one of these monsters, similar to how Smiling Critters appeared in the third chapter. Maybe in the shape of a toy or artwork, it will be one of the long-forgotten mascots from the first chapter. How will the fourth part begin? Most likely, it will pick up where we left off the last time. We went to the place where we fell in the second chapter, but we didn't start there in the third chapter because we were knocked out there and someone had to save us. A year ago, I was thinking about what would happen in the third part, and I thought that Kissy Missy would save us. But since Catnap, the main monster in Chapter 3, saved us, but he didn't do it out of kindness though, he did it to eat us. But as you know, cats love to play with their victims first. Although cats are generally considered friendly, Catnap is an exception. Unfortunately, we are the ones who have fallen victim to this monster. I have a feeling that the fourth chapter will begin just as unexpectedly as the previous ones. However, you're free to imagine whatever you choose. How about we stick to what we're familiar with and what we've observed? So we find ourselves in an elevator, and here's what goes down. Initially, we planned to head downstairs, but then we caught wind of some trouble with Kissy Missy, so we changed course and headed upstairs instead. Will Chapter 4 pick up where we left off in Chapter 3? So, are they really going to prevent us from leaving the orphanage? Imagine we head upstairs, and guess what we find there? There are two possible answers to the question of what happened to Kissy Missy. Well, it's pretty clear that she's no longer with us. The sounds we hear at the end definitely suggest there was some kind of struggle. Thus, there was an attack on Kissy Missy. No one knows for sure who it was, but we can all agree that these little creatures are beaming with joy. The question is, would they dare to harm a healthy Kissy Missy? Well, it's worth noting that she poses just as much of a threat to them as they do to her. As we've observed, they have the ability to take down weakened monsters. On the other hand, if that weren't the case, they might have easily attacked Catnap. Instead, they were overly terrified of him and chose to submit instead, despite their overwhelming numbers. It's possible that the mini Smiling Critters option is on the table, but it's not very likely. So the most popular option that follows is the Prototype. What would happen if you were to attack Kissy Missy? Well, it could be an option. It seems like he has a fascination with collecting deceased creatures, presumably for a specific purpose. Initially, one might assume that he is merely reaping the rewards of our efforts. We slay the monster, and he subsequently claims its remains. However, it seems that he was capable of taking life himself, and he successfully caught Kissy Missy off guard and launched an attack. So the other version of the story is that Kissy Missy turned into a villain. It was quite surprising for all of us to come across the major event in Chapter 2. It was interesting to see how her assistance led to various theories about Kissy Missy's goodness, or rather, why she is. Maybe the prototype actually has the power to manipulate people's minds. In the Happy Hour tape, we saw Kissy Missy swiftly causing chaos among Playtime employees and quickly making her escape. Meanwhile, there are additional creatures wreaking havoc and taking the lives of more employees, all thanks to the prototype. Also, his ability to control other people's thoughts has greatly improved as the number of monsters he can influence decreases. Let me know which version you prefer by leaving a comment. Moreover, there is yet another interesting fact. The prototype didn't appear on the tape that was played during the Happy Hour. To put it another way, he did not take part in it, which means that it was revealed that he was hiding when everything took place. The fact that the kid named Oli, who had been communicating with us throughout the entirety of the 3rd chapter,
It's me again, Ollie. Cool place, right? The kids used to live here.
stopped doing so after we had killed Catnap is yet another fascinating element. Oli could have been Catnap all along, or the connection could have simply been lost, causing him to be unable to communicate with us. There are a few hypotheses that have been proposed. Additionally, it is conceivable that Prototype was able to reach Oli as well. However, given that Oli is a human, this is highly improbable. If we are to be believed then, in addition, Prototype does not require real people because they are easily destroyed and cannot be transformed into anything. If I were given the choice between the first and the second option, I would go with the first option because it is impossible for the connection to be severed if we are both in the same location. Therefore, out of the 3 choices, only the first and the second are suitable. On the other hand, if Catnap is dead, then Oli is also dead. In any case, the most important thing that every single fan of Poppy Playtime is thinking is, when will the 4th chapter be released? An announcement was posted on Twitter by Mob Entertainment, which stated that the development of Chapter 3 began in May of 2023, which means that the development cycle lasted for 8 months. The question is, where were the developers before that? Is it possible that they were working on their merch or Project Playtime? Even still, I would say that 8 months is a pretty short amount of time for work of such high quality. Not only did Mobs meet the short deadline, but I have a feeling that they exceeded their own expectations in terms of how quickly they completed the task. They were able to bring everything together in spite of all the difficulties and the fact that they delayed the release of the game. One could also interpret that as a hint about the length of time that will be required to complete the 4th chapter. I would not like to speculate, but based only on my own personal view, I believe that the 4th chapter will be released within a year, and there is a possibility that it could be released earlier than that. What do you think? When's Chapter 4 coming out? Who will be there? And who would you like to see there? Write in the comments. I'll be sure to answer. Well, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Click on the bell to not miss new videos, like this video, and goodbye everybody.